on, y'all? You guys are now tuning into What's Behind the Scenes, better known as BTS, and I'm your host, Chaunte Wayans. What's behind the scenes? Well, I will tell you. A lot of times we look at some of our favorite movies, TV shows. We go to some of our favorite comedy shows to watch our favorite comedians. But there's a lot of things that go on behind all that to get it started, to get people in the seats, to put the movie together. And I'm here to interview people about exactly that. What's behind the scenes, the camera, and all those things. And today, I got a very, very special guest with me. Very good friend of mine. She produces comedy shows and she's fire at it. She's been in this game, all right? And I got her here with me. Show some love, y'all, for Sarah Mello. Hey, I say Sarah, show some love like we got an audience in the back. I'm so
some
used
applause,
to, I know, used to doing shows and stuff with you. What up, Sarah?
How's it going?
Good, good. Thank you so much for doing this. Is it weird, like, being interviewed because you're normally just chilling in the back?
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming.
I like being behind the scenes.
Yeah. That's interesting. Why exactly do you like that?
I like being creative and helping people reach their goals, and I understand some people want attention. I don't.
You don't like
so
attention?
I like helping other people get the attention they want and hit the goals they want in their career. That's fulfilling to me. Like, that to me is you getting applause.
Yeah. And it's like, it's almost like you sitting back going, look at my babies.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at
and I'm like nervous for them too, just like a kid.
Oh,
I would think like going to your own kid's play and you're like, no. And you're like, all right, they did okay.
That's so funny. I never even looked at it like that.
Oh, yeah.
But that's interesting. So look, for the people that don't know Sarah Mello, let's get into, who is Sarah Mello? What do you do? Because you do a lot of different things.
I do, yeah.
But a lot of us know you as the producer of comedy shows. Could you go into a little bit about that?
Yeah, right now I currently produce stand-up shows mostly around Los Angeles. I'm also putting together a metaverse comedy club to start getting into that.
Hey.
But yeah, right now just comedy producing, booking, casting, anything comedy related, stand-up related.
And how long have you been doing this? When did you get...
Almost 16 years. Thank you, Chaunte.
Hey, man.
Thank you.
Is that aging us? We age backwards, okay? We go... look, I've been in the comedy game for 20 years. You know what I mean? What made you get started in comedy or producing? You said casting. What made you get started in that?
Well... When I moved to Los Angeles in 2007, I didn't even know stand-up existed, and I just kind of randomly got a job at the Laugh Factory. Didn't know what it was, even when I accepted the job.
That is hilarious.
But I fell in love with it that night.
Yeah.
And then from there, I just got really close with comics, which led me to producing my own shows.
That is it. So no interest. You just came.
No. I didn't know anybody when I moved here. I was a dental assistant during the day, and I thought, let me just get another job to either take up my time so I don't need friends or make friends.
That's interesting. Where are you from originally?
Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts, you would come to Hollywood and still not want friends. You're like, I don't want to be around no one.
I like the beach,
That's funny. Damn, the Laugh Factory. The crazy thing is because you said you started there and you met a lot of people. You hang out with some heavy hitters and just well comics in general. I mean, I've seen you with the Dave Chappelles, Donnell Rawlings, Neal Brennan. You are tight knit. How do you get hooked up in the in crowd with heavy hitters?
Mostly from working at the Laugh Factory. I just quickly bonded with. In all honesty, the waitresses didn't hang out with me at first because they thought I was a square. I talked to the comics and really connected with them, which led me, like me and Neal became friends, I think 2 or 3 weeks into me working at the Laugh Factory.
Yeah.
Ian Edwards, people like that. So most of them through working at Laugh Factory, building bond with them there, and then the others just through other comics.
Yeah.
I started producing a show with Neal, and that got me in with a whole other group of comics that I didn't know from the Laugh Factory.
Yeah, that's fire. And it's interesting that you would, connect with the comics because you are creative and comics are weird.
And
we
I'm
have
weird,
our own and
broken. Yeah, I love a broken person.
This is how we actually connect, and it's so funny. I'm actually trying to remember when we started hanging out because I don't think I've seen you at the Laugh Factory.
I was gonna ask you. I don't remember what year we got close, but it wasn't at the Laugh Factory.
No,
it was definitely after.
Yeah, and I think you are very. It's weird because I could see how people would be afraid to approach you, and I'm not saying because of your demeanor.
No, I recently heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people don't know how to approach people they want to get work from, or what I mean, stuff like that. So you hear of producers and people working in the game, you just automatically think they could be assholes. Yeah. So it's like how to approach,
Yeah, a friend was in my green room at a show, and he told me like, when I would leave, he was like, the comics are afraid of you. Right. And I was like, what? He was laughing because he knows me.
And you're so cool.
Yeah. I one time had someone like on my Instagram say that I was rude to them. And I wrote them back, was I in the middle of running a show? Yeah. And then he never wrote back and deleted his comment. And I'm like, I could see if I'm busy or have some stress during the show and you approach me, it might be the wrong time.
Yeah. No, I love seeing you interact with comedians. We recently did a show, and it's just funny to see like new comedians come around because you gotta test the waters. You gotta kind of know how to not be too much and how to not be too reserved, I guess, at the same time.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I get it. Closed mouths don't get fed, so I get it. They want to get on stage. You want to ask me. Sometimes it's just a lot of pressure for me because I want to help everybody, but I can't help everybody. Yeah. So it's not that I don't want them approaching me because I don't like them or anything, but I don't want them approaching me because I know I can't necessarily help them at that moment. Yeah. So for me, it's like, don't put me in that situation. Yeah. But I understand. So I try to, or at least be nice if I tell someone I can't help you or get you on shows at this moment. Yeah. But like hopefully down the line,
And let's go into that because there's different ways to get booked, right? You got like the owner or the manager of the club. You got a process that you go through comedy shows and bookers, and then producing your own show. Like what? First of all, let's start with what is producing. What made you want to even start producing your own shows?
After I left the Laugh Factory, I had help. I was booking a club for a little while. Then I kind of stopped almost everything for a while, except Neal's show. I've done Neal's show for I think since 2011 or 2009. So that one I continuously did, but everything else I had a moment where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. And then I remember at the same time, Improv had approached me and Matt Rife had said, can you help me do a show? And the Improv reached out like the same week. And I just kind of like took it as a sign where I was like, all right, well, why don't I produce a show for you, Matt, here? Yeah. And it just kind of happened. But I think I had I'd already been producing Neal's show, which is different. But to start going out on my own and produce by myself was something I'd wanted to do but was scared to do for a while because you're like, can I do it? Yeah. So that me and Matt started producing a show at the Improv. That led to like Comedy Store reaching out to me, and then it just happened. Yeah. It started, and you do like your own night in different pockets, clubs. Which is amazing. What are some of the pros and cons of producing your own show? It's a lot on you. So if it doesn't go well, you're like like. You want the room to be full for the comics. So if the comics show up to not a full room, they're not all going to care, but they might. So for me, I feel like I want comics to walk into a full room to have a good crowd to perform in front of. Yeah. Also, the comedy clubs threaten to get rid of you if you don't have a sold out room. So the pressure is, it's not a necessarily time consuming job, but it's a stressful job.
Yeah. You won't know what's going to happen until damn near the night of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You put your own money in, so you risk losing money. It's like a little gamble.
But your shows like always has heavy hitters on it, whether they're local or, you know, just famous worldwide. You always, and I've barely seen you had like a light show when you do this. Yeah, a light lineup, but a light audience in general. Like you, even seeing the anxiety and all that stuff, by the end of the show, you got that great crowd.
Right.
I know a lot of comedians like reach out and they're trying to get on these shows, and you kind of explained earlier that sometimes it's hard to book some comedians.
Right.
Is that coming from I'm picking this lineup specifically so I can sell out the show, or, you know, like what's the process of why is it that some comedians can't get booked on shows more easy than others? Right.
I mean, the easy answer is if you're famous and you're gonna draw a crowd, it's easy to get booked.
Yeah, for sure.
But for me, I do different types of shows at different venues, so there's different reasons. So for example, say my big show at the Comedy Store, I gotta sell 250 to 300 tickets.
Yeah.
So for that one, I really need bigger names for the most part, right? Try to do a few big names with maybe one or two up-and-comers, you know, so it balances. For that, I mean, I always just want funny comics. So.
Yeah.
So, are you funny?
Would think, yeah.
Are you funny? Can you sell tickets? And then others, I may have like, I do the show with Neal Brennan. Neal Brennan brings the crowd. So on that one, it's a workout room. That's for people who want to work out their new material. So that show, we really try to focus on writers, like comics who really like to write and try out their new jokes. So him, I don't necessarily need big names because he's going to help me draw so that I can work out and help whoever, get anyone on there. But Comedy Store, I need heavy hitters because it's a big crowd.
It's a huge crowd.
And then just my other shows, it is just, are you funny? As well as, I guess there are other people who are funny that I might not be able to get up. And it's kind of like I have my hub right now that I'm trying to grow. I'd love to, if I had 20 shows a month, I would be able to get up more comics.
Yeah.
But right now it's like I only have a certain amount of shows. I kind of have certain comics I work with. Now, if you come highly recommended for somebody I work with, or if I've seen you and I'm like, you're hysterical, let me start working with that person, it'll work. Other people, they might be funny. I just might not have the time at the moment to get them on.
Yeah, it's crazy because like even being in LA, and I'm speaking for myself, but going to different clubs and different nights, you'll see some of the same people on these shows. And I'm like, yo, there is so many. And it's the crazy thing is it still sells out. They can perform 5 times.
And they'll sell out everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So
some might be a little like really behind the scenes secret is someone might not necessarily sell, but their name's familiar enough or they have enough of a following that if they're seen on a lineup with another big name, that'll help pull tickets.
Yeah.
So it's like they might not be at a level where they're selling, but if they post this flyer with this other big name, that'll help.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is so crazy. You know, it's funny because as a promoter, I've seen you like form some of the most beautiful relationships with comedians. Like you're the go-to in the comic world. I mean, for me, you know, I see you around, you know, Craig, James Davis. It's so many people. You know Sarah too, and calling you like personally. I feel you're like the comics therapist.
Yeah.
It feels
I
like
get more personal help calls than work help calls.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it seems like comedy just means like it's more to you than this, and it's just so beautiful that you form those relationships. Yeah. I was gonna he like
in general, I think everyone in life, not just comics, but everyone kind of comes to me for their personal stuff, but definitely I don't know why I have this soft spot for comics. Like, let me help you.
Yeah. I remember I was going through a rough time when I shot my Netflix special in 2019.
I remember that.
And Sarah was like, you could come with me back to Massachusetts to get away from the world. And I honestly, I should have took you up on that offer. But I will never forget that, because that was such it was like, what? Why would you even say that? That was amazing. I want to know, because you've been around, you've been a lot of places. I think anytime I go to like a premiere or something like that, I catch you in the corner somewhere. But I want to know, what was your craziest like night, good or bad?
I've had a lot of those. Mostly good.
Yeah.
Or even if they're bad, they're funny.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Got a story behind it. I've had any nights from back when I was working at the Laugh Factory. I remember one night someone came in and was like, yo, you want to go to Vegas?
Yeah.
I was like, when? And they were like, what time are you off? Me and my friend were like, midnight.
Right.
And we drove to Vegas straight after and just went.
You do that though. You party and not party like you out there drunk and all that stuff, but you're kind of with the, hey, let's just go. Yeah,
definitely.
I love that.
I'm not a planner, but yeah, and then just definitely obviously getting to be around people like Dave Chappelle or Donnell. They might come to my show and then be like, let's go to this party after. Or they might throw a party after. And then you never know who's going to be there, what's going to happen. It might go to 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you're just like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Trying to get through it.
And I'll get you home if you need a ride.
Oh, that's so funny. What does it take to run your own comedy night?
Relationships. You want the clubs to like you.
Yeah.
The people who work at the club, a lot of them thank me for being easy to work with. And then, obviously, most importantly, the relationships with the comics. Mm-hmm. And then a lot, like in weird ways. It's like booking the night with the comedy club, then finding comics that are available for that night that, again, are going to help you sell. Yeah. It's a good lineup. And then promoting, which is the worst part of it. Yeah, because comics don't always promote. Yeah, I feel like, comedy is always also changing. And there are some comics who don't want to promote anything that's not their show. And I understand that. Whereas I've spoken to other bookers and producers who get mad at comics who won't promote their shows. They're like, it's a team effort. I see both sides of it. They get mad, like they never promote, they never post, and I'm like, I appreciate when people post, and I'm like, please post. Yeah. But if they don't post, I understand. Like they may have their own show coming up in LA. They may be on 20 shows that week. That I understand. Especially if you send me a flyer that looks like you drew it on a piece of paper. Yeah. It's hard. I'll post it to the story, but it's hard to post My
that.
Flyers don't.
No. You got amazing. But again, you got heavy hit. Like I wouldn't understand why people wouldn't want to push shows because it's promoting you in a way, especially if you're getting some money and stuff like that. But more so, just trying to come in the game and get to that place, you would want to show that these are the things you do, I would think. Yeah, I would think. Yeah, you like but if somebody doesn't, I understand that there's probably a reason for it. Yeah. Look at that. Sometimes people are like, some people have told me like, I'll only post a flyer if it's just my photo on it. Okay. That sounds like a very bougie star. Like I said, one fly. It's all about you, It's all about All right, Sarah. I'm gonna say this is how dope I think you are, because when we went through that thing called the lockdown, aka the pandemic, you came out of nowhere because comedians thought it was over. We thought it was over, and you started doing virtual shows. Yeah. What the rooftop shows, virtual shows. What was that like for you? Were you nervous, or did you knew you had a plan? Yeah. No, I didn't know. Honestly, I was going through a rough part of the pandemic with other personal issues going on, and
Tone Bell hit me up and was like, yo, you want to do this? I was like, let's do it. Me and him were talking about, we were there for each other through other personal issues happening. And so we were talking a lot at the time. And then he was like, yo, you want to do these shows with me? I was like, all right. He hooked me up with Bubba, who ran In Crowd, which was the company we did the virtual shows through. And Tone was even like, man, anything I've ever hit you up for, you've been down to do. Yeah. So we just figured it out as we went along. And then rooftop shows.
That show was fire.
Yeah. I was like, is anyone going to show up to rooftop? But they did.
They did.
Yeah,
everybody was happy to get out.
Yeah.
The outside wasn't as bad as and In Crowd was great because they had people, but we were like watching it on the screen. And it was just a complete, and delays and laughter.
Yeah. That one, that's why I didn't want to do the regular Zoom show of just somebody in front of a camera. I liked In Crowd because there was a stage. With people around. Yeah, there wasn't a lag. Right?
Yeah, no. In Crowd was dope. Man.
In Crowd. And yeah, I think it's just like comedy's always about like survival mode and like, all right, this isn't working. What do I do next?
Yeah. That's beauty. And we figure out how to be funny because we tried everything during the pandemic.
That was like, comics showed up. I felt like they all showed up mad at me for that. Like they were doing me a favor. Like they did not want to be there. And then every comic would come off stage like, that was so much fun. And I was like, I told you.
Well, we didn't know what to expect, right? But when we got there and you saw that people were still willing to laugh, when you're looking, you're waiting to feel that audience. You know what I'm saying? So when you're looking in the computer and it's just a different. You talking to people on the left, they really on the right. You like. You know what I mean? But you throw, like I said, you always throw some really amazing shows and always have good vibes in there, man. I'm so happy to see what's to come, and I want to leave with that. What is your end goal, and what would you say to anybody out there? What kind of advice would you give people as comics or trying to produce or whatever?
One of my end goals is owning my own club. So I can do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because you're still going to deal with other people if you're working out of their club. So, and I definitely want to get into more producing. I used to, produce branded sketches, things like that. I want to jump back more into that producing side of actual, television, things like that. But yeah, having my own club, because again, only having maybe 5 to 10 shows a month, I can only get so many comics on. Whereas if I have my own club and it's every night, I can help more people.
Yeah.
And it's even more if it doesn't work, it falls on me. Throw more stress on my life. Comedy in general, I would just say, I think I usually tell people this all the time, like not to take things personal. As a comic, as a producer, it is like a heightened energy all the time of you might be scared right before you're going on stage. So you might snap at me. I might be scared because I'm nervous of how the show's going to go. I might snap at you. And I always you just got to know, like, we all have our own shit going on. So
it's a lot of moments.
Same, not getting booked. It's like a comic might not know everything I'm dealing with to where the pressure I have on me if the show doesn't sell out. So they might think I don't like them. I might love them. I might think they're really funny. They don't like me.
Right.
So I think as a comic, as a booker, anybody, just like don't take things that personal.
Yeah. There it is. This is Sarah Mello. We got the Mello Comedic brand right here. This is where it's at. Let them know anything you got going up. Anything you want to say?
I think my next show, I want to say it's April 15th for the Metaverse Comedy Labs.
Yes.
Labs with a Z. My Metaverse show. Yeah, it'll be streaming.
Yes. April 15th.
I think.
I'm there virtually.
You've done it. Mm.
I have?
You did the last one.
When the last one?
At Westside.
Oh, snap. I didn't even know that was a virtual show. Oh, my gosh. I got to see that set.
It's live.
I got to see that set. I did not know that. You're looking at me like I'm supposed to know. I thought it hasn't started yet. Why you didn't tell me that? You know what? Sarah Mello, everybody. Make sure you check her out. If you see Mello Comedic anywhere, it's a show you must go to. Follow her. What's your @?
At Mello Comedic. MELLO Comedic.
Yep. And follow me everywhere @C Wayans. This is What's Behind the Scenes. Appreciate you. Peace.